Ms. Lummis. Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Moreno, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray. Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Budd, Cassidy, Grassley, Husted, Johnson, King, McCormick, Moody, Risch, Scott of Florida, Sheehy, Thune. Senators voting in the negative: Baldwin, Blunt Rochester, Booker, Cantwell, Duckworth, Hassan, Kim, Rosen, Schiff, Welch. Mrs. Murray, no. Mr. Kane, no. Mr. Barrasso, aye. Ms. Markowski, aye. Mrs. Blackburn, aye. Mr. Reed, no. Mr. Wicker, aye. Ms. Warren, no. Mr. Daines, aye. Mr. Schumer, no. Mr. Langford, aye. Mr. Mullen, aye. Mr. Warner, no. Mr. Whitehouse, no. Mr. Rounds, aye. Mr. Marshall, aye. Mr. Kelly, no. Mrs. Hyde Smith, aye. Mr. Graham, aye. Mr. Ricketts, aye. Mrs. Fisher, aye. Ms. Collins, Aye. Mr. Curtis, aye. Mr. Sullivan, aye. Mr. Durbin, no. Mr. Schatz, no. Mrs. Brett, aye. Mr. Van Hollen, no. Mr. Murphy, no. Ms. Klobuchar, no. Mr. Young, aye. Ms. Ernst, aye. Mr. Paul, no. Mr. Wyden, no. Mr. Hoven, aye. Ms. Smith, no. Mr. Merkley, no. Mr. Cornyn, aye. Mr. Sanders, no. Mrs. Gillibrand, Mrs. Gillibrand. No. Mr. Hawley, Mr. Hawley. Aye. Mr. Bennett, Mr. Bennett. No. Mr. Blumenthal, Mr. Blumenthal. No. Mr. Cotton, Mr. Cotton. Aye. Mr. Warnock, Mr. Warnock. No. Mr. Padilla, Mr. Padilla. No. Mr. Moran. Mr. Moran, aye. Mr. Crapo, Mr. Crapo, aye. Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Tuberville, aye. Mr. Fetterman, Mr. Fetterman, aye. Mr. Haggerty, Mr. Haggerty, aye. Mr. Tillis, aye. Mr. Coons, no. Mr. Peters, no. Mr. Markey, no. Mrs. Shaheen, no. Mr. Lujan, no. Mr. Bozeman, aye. Ms. Lummis, aye. Mr. Kennedy, aye. Mr. Ossoff, no. Mr. Schmidt, aye. Mrs. Capito, aye. Mr. Lee, Aye. Mr. Gallego, Mr. Gallego. No. Mr. Hickenlooper. Mr. Hickenlooper, no. Mr. Kramer, Mr. Kramer. Aye. Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Slotkin. No. Mr. Banks, Mr. Banks. Aye. Ms. Cortez Masto, Ms. Cortez Masto. Aye. Mr. Scott of South Carolina. Aye. Ms. Also Brooks, Ms. Also Brooks. No. Mr. Cruz, Mr. Cruz. Aye. Ms. Hirono, Ms. Hirono, no. Mr. McConnell, aye. Mr. Heinrich, no. Mr. Moreno, aye.
Can you come back? On this vote, the ayes are 54, the nays are 45. 3/5 of the Senate duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative, the motion upon reconsideration is not agreed to. The clerk will report the motion to invoke cloture.
Cloture motion, we, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, do hereby move to bring to a close debate on the nomination of Jordan Emery Pratt of Florida to be United States District Judge for the Middle District of Florida, signed by 17 senators.
By unanimous consent, the mandatory quorum call has been waived. The question is it the sense of the Senate that debate on the nomination of Jordan Emery Pratt of Florida to be United States District Judge for the Middle District of Florida shall be brought to a close? The yeas and nays are mandatory under the rule. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsop-Brooks, Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt-Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Barrasso, Cassidy, Cotton, Kramer, Crapo, Curtis, Daines, Graham, Haggerty, Kennedy, Lee, Marshall, Moody, Moran, Marino, Hall, Rounds, Schmidt, Scott of South Carolina, Tillis, and Wicker. Senators voting in the negative: also Brooks, Blunt Rochester, Coons, Duckworth, Fetterman, Heinrich, Hirono, King, Lujan, Padilla, Sanders, Schatz, and Slotkin. Mr. McConnell, aye. Ms. Collins, Ms. Collins, aye. Mr. Welch, Mr. Welch, no. Mr. Grassley, Mr. Grassley, aye. Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Ricketts, aye. Mr. Husted, Mr. Husted, aye. Mr. Wyden, no. Ms. Ernst, aye. Ms. Klobuchar, no. Mr. Gallego, no. Mr. Risch, aye. Mr. Justice, aye. Mrs. Blackburn, aye. Mrs. Fisher, aye. Mr. Cruz, aye. Ms. Rosen, no. Ms. Lummis, aye. Mr. Cornyn, aye. Mr. Langford, aye. Mr. Bozeman, aye. Mr. Schumer, no. Mr. Kim, no. Mr. Bennett, no. Mr. Mullen, aye. Mr. Tuberville, aye. Mrs. Gillibrand, no. Mr. Thune, aye. Mrs. Murray, no. Mr. Markey, no. Mr. Ossoff, no. Mr. Warner, no. Mr. Reed, no. Mr. Merkley, no. Mr. Sheehy, aye. Mr. Durbin, no. Mr. Young, aye. Mrs. Hyde Smith, aye. Mr. Schiff. Mr. Schiff. No. Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott of Florida. Aye. Mr. Kane. Mr. Kane. No. Mr. Van Hollen. Mr. Van Hollen. No. Ms. Smith. Ms. Smith. No. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson. Aye. Mr. Peters. Mr. Peters. No. Ms. Baldwin. Ms. Baldwin. No. Ms. Warren. Ms. Warren. No. Mrs. Capito. Mrs. Capito. Aye. Ms. Cantwell. Ms. Cantwell. No. Mr. Budd. Mr. Budd. Aye. Mr. McCormick. Mr. McCormick. Aye. Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kelly, no. Ms. Hassan, Ms. Hassan, no. Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Sullivan, aye. Mr. Hickenlooper, Mr. Hickenlooper, no. Ms. Cortez Masto, Ms. Cortez Masto, no. Mrs. Shaheen, Mrs. Shaheen, no. Mr. Hoven, Mr. Hoven, aye. Mr. Warnock, no. Mr. Banks,
Never.
aye. Ms. Murkowski,
They won't notice us.
aye. Mr. Booker, no. Mrs. Britt, aye. Mr. Whitehouse, no. Mr. Murphy. Mr. Murphy, no.
But I was clear from the day I took office that I wanted to do things differently around here. My goal was to have an open process, conducted through regular order, something that I think is in the best interest of this institution and of all senators, both sides of the aisle. And I know I was not alone in wanting an open process. And until Democrats derailed everything, we had actually made a lot of progress on restoring regular order this year. We passed 3 bipartisan appropriations bills before the August recess, the first time the Senate had done that since 2018. Now we're trying to go to conference on those 3 bills to reach a final agreement with the House. And the Democrats are blocking that. That includes the agriculture bill that funds farm programs and nutrition assistance, the military construction and VA bill that funds programs that veterans rely on. As I said, we tried to bring up the defense appropriations bill this month in hopes that if Democrats wouldn't agree to fund the entire government, we could at least make some progress on this critical aspect of it. And I told my Democrat colleagues at the time that if we got on that bill, we would work to add other bipartisan bills, the same way we did it just a few months ago. But once again, Democrats said no. No to funding programs that they claim they support. No to an open process. No to bipartisanship. Mr. President, time and again, we've heard the Democrat leader lecture about bipartisanship. So why is his caucus blocking progress on bipartisan appropriations bills? Why are Democrats blocking bills that they helped write in the Appropriations Committee, where these bills are passing with overwhelming bipartisan margins, as I said, 26-3? Why are they impending, or I should say upending, a bipartisan process that benefits all senators on both sides of the aisle? The senior senator from Hawaii said recently, and I quote, "We still have hope for the appropriations process. There's a bipartisan desire to get something done and avoid a full-year continuing resolution," end quote. Well, all I can say in response is that if Democrats still have hope for the appropriations process, they need to start acting like it. We're running out of time. And every day Democrats say no to reopening the government is another day lost. Mr. President, we've given Democrats a lot of opportunities to work in the best interest of the American people. But Democrats seem more interested in getting the upper hand in their partisan games. The number 2 Democrat in the House said last week, and I quote, "I mean, shutdowns are terrible, and of course there will be, families that are going to suffer, but is one of the few leverage times we have," end quote. Of course there will be families that are going to suffer, but it is one of the few leverage times we have. That from the second-ranking Democrat in the House of Representatives. I think it describes where we're at, Mr. President. Sure, people are suffering. But Democrats need their leverage. Are they serious? Mr. President, I end as I began, quoting the president of a major labor union and a Democrat ally. This is the quote: "The path forward for Congress is clear. Reopen the government immediately under a clean continuing resolution that allows continued debate on larger issues." End quote. Mr. President, I yield the floor and I suggest the absence of the quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alston-Brooks.
Mr. President,
I recognize
I ask unanimous
the
consent.
Democrat leader.
I ask unanimous consent the quorum be dispensed with.
Without objection.
Well, open enrollment is now just 4 days away, and Republicans do not even want to talk about fixing health care. Americans are on the brink of a health care crisis unlike we have seen in our lifetimes. Never before have we been in a situation where more than 20 million Americans can see their insurance premiums more than double on average in the blink of an eye. And that's just the average, because for many people it's worse. Yesterday, the state of New Jersey also announced the average New Jersey family would see premium hikes of 175%. 175%. In upstate New York, the average family with a plan costing $280 a month today is about to pay $1,700 a month for the same plan next year, a 500% hike. And that starts this Saturday with open enrollment. This crisis will be felt in every community and by nearly every single household, red, blue, purple, and everything in between. So tonight, Senate Democrats will come to the floor and warn our Republican colleagues in the nation of the devastation Republicans are causing by doing nothing on health care. We will highlight the impacts of surging premiums on families. We will share the stories we're hearing right now from people scared of premium hikes. I thank my colleagues for coming to the floor and speaking on this urgent issue. We are in a health care crisis, and Republicans don't even want to talk about how to fix it. The president isn't even in town, as Americans are about to be devastated by the bills they'll receive on health care. The president's on the other side of the world, instead of being here in Washington working with Congress to lower health care premiums. And when the president is in town, what's he focused on? Instead of being focused on fixing health care, Donald Trump's sending $40 billion to Argentina, spending $300 million on his ballroom, and giving Kristi Noem $170 million for 2 big private luxury jets. Meanwhile, millions of hungry kids and working families are about to lose SNAP benefits to buy food because Donald Trump has ordered the Department of Agriculture to rip up its own contingency plan. Isn't that a disgrace? Using hungry kids, hungry parents, hungry veterans as hostages. Cruel. Let's be clear about the facts. There is somewhere around $5 billion in emergency funds that could be used right now to ensure parents and kids don't go hungry when SNAP runs out this Saturday. The USDA said weeks ago that contingency funds were, quote, available to fund participant benefits. That's the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Trump's own cabinet position. But now they've reversed course and literally wiped their plan from their own website because Donald Trump has ordered them not to use this funding. Donald Trump should reverse course immediately and allow these emergency funds to go through to spare working families from hunger and needless suffering. What the administration is doing, ordering the U.S. Department of Agriculture not to use emergency funds to keep SNAP afloat, is an act of cruelty. Cruelty. The same administration that gifted Argentina a $40 billion bailout and cut taxes for billionaires by $1 trillion is now telling hungry kids, you're on your own. And what about Republicans in Congress? Today, Leader Thune will force yet another vote on a Republican CR that has zero bipartisan input. It's a partisan bill and does nothing, most importantly, does nothing to solve the ACA crisis. Just now here on the floor, the Republican leader seemed perplexed about what precisely it is that Democrats are pushing for. He knows damn well what Democrats want. It's the very same thing that a vast majority of Americans want, including nearly 60% of MAGA voters. We want lower health care costs now. We want to solve the ACA premium crisis now. Open enrollment is just days away. We want lower costs, better health care, and to reopen the government. Let me repeat again what Democrats want so the leader can hear it loud and clear. The Republican leader can hear it. We want lower health care costs, fix the ACA premium crisis, and reopen the government. We Democrats have been calling on Republican leaders to sit down with us and negotiate and address this crisis since the summer. But even now, Leader Thune insists we should fix ACA premiums later, not right away. This is not good enough for the American people, because Americans know when it comes to health care, when Republicans say later, they mean never. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has become a ghost town. It's been 39 days since members of Congress have shown up for work. We all know what's going on here. Speaker Johnson's simply afraid to bring the House back because the minute he does, a good number of House Republicans will start saying exactly what many of us are calling for. that we need to address the ACA premium crisis as soon as we can. The Speaker is so afraid of exposing divisions within his own conference that he has unilaterally shut down one half of the legislative branch of government. So to sum it all up, we're just days away from a health care crisis unlike any we've ever seen, and Republicans from the Senate to the House to the White House are dithering about. Republicans are the party in charge. They hold the White House and both chambers in Congress. Americans know that. They know the onus is on the majority party to govern and to work with the other side to get things done. But today, Americans look at this Republican Party and see a majority refusing to do its job. It's thus no surprise that Americans primarily hold Republicans responsible for this disastrous shutdown. So I'll say it once again. Republicans need to get serious about ending this shutdown and ending the ACA crisis that has now become a reality for millions of people. They need to get serious. If Donald Trump continues to ignore the ticking time bomb that is ACA premiums, the American people will hold him responsible when disaster strikes. I yield the floor.
The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsterbrooks.
Mr. President,
I recognize the majority whip.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the quorum call be vitiated.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to waive the mandatory quorum calls with respect to the cloture on the Pratt and the LaCour Jr. nominations.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, today marks day 28 of the Schumer shutdown of the United States government. Democrats continue to block a clean, continuing resolution that would reopen the government. For them, it's a big game. And for the American people, they continue to suffer. So listen to the own words. Listen to what Senator Schumer has said. He gloated to the press. He said, "Every day gets better for us." I got to wonder who the us is, because it's not the American people. And then just last week, the Democrat whip in the House of Representatives, she said to the press in an interview, broadcast on television, proudly proclaiming, it looks like, she says, "Of course there will be families that are going to suffer." And she said, "But that is one of the few leverage times we have." Leverage? The Democrats are playing the politics of pain, and the American people are the ones that are suffering. And it's wrong, it's heartless, it's mean. Leverage for what? Taxpayer giveaways of health care funded by the taxpayers to illegal immigrants who stormed into this country in the last administration? Is that why they're shutting down the government? Leverage for that? Leverage for $1.5 trillion in new spending? Leverage so they can eliminate the one thing that we passed this summer to help our rural hospitals, $50 billion for rural hospitals, remote hospitals like those that we have all across the country. They want to get rid of that. Leverage for that. Leverage that they continue to suck up to the far left radical wing of their party they're trying to impress. That's not good for our country. Mr. President, it's not good for health care. It's not good for anything. I'm a doctor, practiced medicine in Wyoming for 24 years, and look, I want Americans to have high quality, affordable health care. That's what we want for the American citizens. But right now, that's impossible because American health care is broken. The Democrats broke it. They broke it when they passed Obamacare. The day they passed Obamacare, they broke health care in America. And a headline in the Sunday New York Times proves the point. First three words, Obamacare is pricey. That's what they've done. They said, oh, we want to lower the cost of care. They didn't. They misnamed it, as put the word affordable. There's nothing affordable about it. Obamacare has been pricey from the beginning, and it's getting worse. The Washington Post editorial page agrees. They wrote recently, quote, "The real problem is that the Affordable Care Act was never actually affordable." That's the Washington Post. They're right. Obamacare is a failed program. It's failed financially. Democrats created it, and they continue to defend the failure today. Democrats tried to prop up Obamacare with very juicy subsidies to try to hold down out-of-pocket costs. Then when Joe Biden became president, Democrats added Biden COVID bonus payments on top of all the subsidies. These payments are an admission that Obamacare's flaws have only gotten worse. Democrats voted twice to make these Biden COVID bonus payments temporary. The first was scheduled to end in 2022, but they were noting that Obamacare was still failing miserably, so they extended the payments again, and they extended them to the end of this year. Democrats set the expiration date. Democrats created the cliff. Democrats created what they're now referring to as a crisis. Remember, Democrats created Obamacare, and they created these Biden COVID bonus payments, and they did it without a single Republican vote. Not in the House, not in the Senate, not a single one. These payments were always intended to be temporary, or so they claimed. Democrats' own report that they wrote back there when they passed it says they were to be applied, quote, during the public health emergency. Today, Democrats are now demanding $350 billion in permanent new spending. Why? Because they need to prop up Obamacare once again because it's failed. When the Democrats say fix it now, what they're really saying is prop up Obamacare forever. It's wrong. COVID is over. Democrats probably didn't see the memo. Maybe they don't realize it's over. They're still trying to go after money for COVID. Look, even after the Biden bonus COVID payments expire, the federal government is still going to pay for 80% of the average Obamacare enrollee's premium. because Obamacare is pricey. That's what the New York Times tells us. What is expiring now is this added cash that Democrats paid insurers during the pandemic. Money didn't go to private individuals, didn't go to the citizens, it went to the insurance companies. They won't tell you that either. These Biden COVID bonus payments are riddled with waste, fraud, abuse, and actual corruption. Democrats removed every income limit on the subsidies. No means testing whatsoever. And you hear Bernie Sanders come out to the floor and say, oh, we can't do this for millionaires and billionaires. They did it for millionaires and billionaires. Remove the upper limit. Anybody, sky's the limit. No matter how much money you make, no matter what's going on in your life, you get these bonus payments through COVID, through the Democrats, and they want to make it permanent. It's absolutely wrong. It's ridiculous. In 2024, 12 million people that they've enrolled in this program got insurance that they never used. And since the subsidies flow directly to the insurance company from the government, the insurers pocketed tens of billions of dollars even though the enrollees did not make a single claim. So how's that happen? Well, let me talk about some of the waste and some actual fraud and manipulation that's going on, because in 29 states of our 50, more people are claiming full benefits than are eligible for those benefits in the state. How can the Democrats have that to do with that for the last 4 years? That's what we're trying to take a look at and say, Mr. President, this is wrong. 6.4 million people under the Biden administration were improperly enrolled that year. $27 billion paid by hardworking taxpayers for all of these people who were improperly enrolled. At least 1.6 million people were doubly enrolled in both Medicaid and in Obamacare, which of course is not allowed. It's illegal. You can't do it. Democrats allowed it to happen because they don't care. They've never shown they care. It's all a political game for them. You heard it. You heard the whip in the House say, oh, no, this gives us leverage. You heard the minority leader here, Chuck Schumer, say every day gets better for them. Well, it doesn't get better for the American people. This isn't about making health care more affordable. This is a direct theft of taxpayer money. And it's all to prop up a program that they named after President Obama, Obamacare, and it's a program that never worked. Health care costs continue to go up. Obamacare failed to address that. And as even the New York Times said on Sunday, Obamacare is pricey. So what caused those prices to go up? Well, Democrats did, of course. When government pays any price, insurers can charge any price. It's exactly what's happening today. And now it's the American families who are paying their taxes who are paying the price. Republicans will not allow Democrats to paper over the inadequacies of Obamacare. We want to get to the root cause of the cost of high medical care. Democrats are protecting waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption. At the same time, federal workers are getting and going on unpaid. Enough is enough. Even liberal labor unions are fed up with the Democrats' politics of pain. And we've seen it. Finally, yesterday, the American Federation of Government Employees urged Democrats join Republicans, reopen the government. So what exactly did they say? They said both political parties have made their point, and then went on to say it is time to pass a clean continuing resolution and end the shutdown today. Not half measures, no gamesmanship. That's from the union that has for years and years and years supported Democrat candidates across the board. They're saying do what Republicans have been saying from the beginning, pass a clean continuing resolution. Remember, they did it 13 times when Joe Biden was president, and now they voted against it 13 times with Donald Trump in the White House. A big political game for the Democrats, and it's a dangerous game, and the American people are suffering. So are the Democrats going to listen to the union that represented and worked with the Democrats to get them elected in the first place? Well, we're going to find out. Let me echo what Leader Thune said. Republicans are happy to address Obamacare's many failures, But first, we need to reopen the government. There's not going to be negotiations while the government is closed. We're not going to negotiate with hostage takers. We need to reopen the government and then talk about all the things that people want to talk about. Because right now, our troops, women, infants, and children in the Women, Infants, and Children program, they shouldn't be used as leverage for the Democrats to try to save their failed programs. Air traffic controllers, TSA agents who I talked to yesterday coming through Wyoming to come back to Washington, they don't want to be used as pawns. They don't want to be thought of as chips on the table in a political game of leverage. And Chuck Schumer saying every day gets better for us. That's wrong, Mr. President. The American people deserve better. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor. Suggest the absence of a quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsterbrooks.
Mr. President,
I recognize the senator from Vermont.
Mr. President, our president.
We're in a quorum call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we dispense with the quorum call.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, the President of the United States says that the United States is at war. In the past 7 weeks, President Trump has ordered U.S. forces to take military action to destroy 10 boats in international waters. That has resulted in the death of more than 40 possible drug couriers. President Trump has also told Congress he's determined that the United States is at war with what he calls narco-terrorists. He's also said that he's taking steps to escalate military action against Venezuela and Colombia, and of course is sending U.S. warships, fighter planes, and special forces to their coast. And he's also openly tossing around threats of airstrikes against targets in the sea and on land. You know, the questions before us as the United States Senate are clear and they are urgent. Are the president's actions steering the American people into yet another undeclared war? And would it be legal for the president to expand this war to the sovereign territories of countries in South America, as he is now threatening to do? Mr. President, the clear answer is no. That this president, no president, has the legal authority without congressional authorization to take America into military conflict. There has been no credible legal experts that have defended the president's actions, with one exception, and of course that is the Attorney General, who has provided an opinion to the president. We are told, but we have not seen, that what he's doing is legal. That's without precedent. It's without precedent for the top legal official in this country to give an opinion that it's legal to go to war without congressional authorization. But it's clearly the legal advice the president wanted and won't even share with the members of the United States Senate. The president, of course, seems to be basing the legality of these actions on the declaration that drug traffickers are terrorists. We all join in hating what the drug traffickers do, but it's also based on that legal opinion, the Office of Legal Counsel at the Justice Department, that we're told gives legal cover for the president to do what is clearly beyond the authority of a chief executive. We know nothing about that opinion, and all in this body who have called for it to be released are doing the right thing. We know that under the U.S. Constitution, the president does not have authority to start a war without congressional authorization. It is an Article 1 responsibility of the Congress of the United States, and there's a reason for that that's so very important. If we are going to ask, with the authority of Congress and the executive, men and women to go to war on behalf of defending our country, that profoundly important decision that is being made by Congress, but is putting in harm's way the men and women who serve in the military, there should be a debate and there should be a vote, there should be responsibility, and there should be accountability. And simply the determination by the president that he's attacking a group of what he calls terrorists, narco-terrorists, does not by itself make it legal under the Constitution. You know, some people may say, what's the big deal? These are bad folks. Drugs are terrible. We all agree with that. But it's not up to the president to determine whether we go to war. It's up to Congress. Should we be going to war with Venezuela? You know, all of us are on board, Republicans and Democrats, with the fight against narcotics, illegal drugs, fentanyl in particular, which mostly enter the U.S. through Mexico and on the Pacific Ocean, are wreaking havoc on our communities. It's happened in Vermont, as well as West Virginia, Idaho, Florida, Montana, every other state. Our sons and daughters, mothers and fathers are struggling with addiction and dying from overdose. So yes, this is a very serious problem, and we should be doing far more to deal with it, treating addiction in our own country, bolster our local police forces, our mental health resources, and to work with source countries to stop the production and transshipment of these dangerous drugs. This has not been a partisan issue, and in fact, it is an issue where, when I served in the House, there was Republican and Democratic collective action to provide treatment that is providing real-world help in real time to folks in your state and in mine. But laws matter, and the Constitution matters. If the president does want to start a war, if he wants to put America's troops in harm's way, he needs to seek authorization from Congress. And as my colleagues and I know too well, the United States has a very unfortunate history of wars, forever wars, started by presidents who misrepresented the facts. From the USS Maine incident used to justify the war against Spain, to the Gulf of Tonkin resolution incident to justify the Vietnam War, 60,000 young Americans killed, to President Bush's stretching of the facts about Iraq's alleged weapons of mass destruction to launch a disastrous forever war. In each of these cases, majorities of our predecessors on this very Senate floor abdicated their responsibility to question the president's intentions and justifications for war. And that is why I hope that each of my colleagues, each of us here, will join me in questioning the president's legal basis to carry out these killings and to potentially launch attacks against one or more South American countries. We should demand that Congress assert its constitutional obligation to determine where and why the United States goes to war. You know, as I mentioned, we all hate the scourge of drugs. But why are we spending billions of dollars in this effort in Venezuela, while at the same time taking funding away for treatment programs here at home that actually have been proven effective to help the most vulnerable Americans that are actually struggling with addiction to fentanyl and other drugs? The Department of Justice has also diverted thousands of Drug Enforcement Administration funds and other law enforcement personnel from their critical missions to carry out the president's immigration agenda. Yet the department has inexplicably shut down the Organized Crime and Drug Enforcement Task Force, which has been effective in dismantling thousands of criminal organizations, and unilaterally the administration has terminated hundreds of grants that do provide critical funding to state and local law enforcement, folks on the ground in the community, helping folks who are struggling with addiction and helping law enforcement get to the sellers of those terrible drugs. In fact, the administration's fiscal year 2026 budget would slash the high-intensity drug trafficking areas program by more than a third, from $298 million to $196 million. And under the direction of Attorney General Bondi, federal drug prosecutions, I have no idea how this happened, but federal drug prosecutions have dropped to the lowest level in decades. A fact I find shocking. So when the president claims his new war is about protecting America from drugs, it's a fair question. Why are we doing so little? Why are we taking money away from treatment? Why are we taking money away from high-intensity drug enforcement? Why are we not prosecuting more, instead prosecuting so much less? Mr. President, it's up to the Senate to do its job. We have seen from history that our failure to assert our constitutional responsibility to decide whether to send our military to war has resulted in grievous suffering for the American people and a weakening of our national security. Mr. President, in asserting our responsibility, at the bare minimum, this United States Senate should demand to see Attorney General Bondi's legal analysis that the President has used to justify his use of the U.S. military to engage in these attacks. Mr. President, I yield back.
Mr. President.
Senator from Alabama.
Mr. President, I come to the floor today to talk about two bills I recently introduced to shut down Sharia law in this country. I ruffled some feathers a few weeks ago when I came to the Senate floor to talk about what I believe is the greatest national security threat facing the United States of America: radical Islam and Sharia law. The Democrats and the mainstream media, they've been coming after me ever since I started talking about this subject. But after spending 40 years coaching, I don't really care what people think about me. I love this country, and I want to save this country for our kids and our grandkids. You know, I was back in Alabama this weekend, and I heard from countless Alabamians who told me they are 100% behind what I'm talking about. At the end of the day, I work for the great people of Alabama and the great people of this country, not the pearl-clutching media that is out there hammering me every day. Speaking of Alabama, I'm proud that the Yellowhammer State banned Sharia law a long time ago. For too long, people have been afraid to call out radical Islam for what it is. Because if you dare to speak out, the left will come after you, your family, your reputation, and your job. They'll try to ruin your life just because they disagree with you. That's how they play the game. One of the radical left's go-to tactics is to accuse anyone who disagrees with them as being a racist, a bigot, or intolerant. They've tried that with me, calling me an Islamophobe for calling out the evils of Islam. But there's only one problem with that strategy. One, radical Islam isn't a race, it's an ideology. It's a choice. And I would argue it is a cult. So no, I'm not an Islamophobe. If you want to peacefully practice your religion, that's fine with me. That's what our Constitution gives you the right to do. Our Constitution gives you that right, and that's why we have millions of Christians, Jews, Mormons, Hindus, Buddhists, and peaceful Muslims who worship freely in this great country of ours called the United States of America. But if you come here, you are expected to assimilate to our country and our values. I recently saw a stat that absolutely shocked me. We have 42 million people in this country that are on food stamps. 42 million. You would think these people are just Americans who have fallen on hard times, which is who the program is for. But a disproportionate amount of these 42 million people are immigrants. 45% of Afghanistani immigrants are on food stamps. 42 of the Somalian immigrants are on food stamps. And 59% of all illegal aliens are collecting food stamps. 59%. So clearly, these people are not coming here and assimilating in our America way of life by working hard and taking care of your family. What an idea. They are coming here to mooch off the American taxpayer. It's wrong, and we need to call it out. But beyond the taxpayer concerns, this religion is also fundamentally incompatible with our Western values, so wake up, America. The Quran instructs Islamists to fight Jews and Christians, along with anyone else who doesn't believe in Allah. Simply put, radical Islam teaches that it is righteous to kill Christians. It's righteous. There's no peaceful coexistence with this type of people. None. Just look at the Middle East and North Africa, where Christians and Jews are being slaughtered by the thousand. Where's our media? Where are they at? More than 7,000 Christians have been slaughtered by radical Muslims in Nigeria so far this year. 7,000. That's 35 people that have been killed every day this year. Where's the mainstream media? How come they're not talking about that? Radical Islam demands complete obedience, complete, 100%, and will kill you if you dare to speak out against their beliefs and ideologies. This isn't anything new. Muslims have been fighting to wipe out Christians and Jews for centuries. But now the problem isn't just confined to faraway Middle East. It's happening right here in our backyard in 50 states. We're already seeing cities in Michigan, Minnesota being taken over by Sharia law. In Dearborn, Michigan, a Christian pastor recently protested. A street was named after a radical Islamist terrorist. Pastor just complained about it. In response, the Muslim mayor of Dearborn told the pastor that he is no longer welcome in the town and will celebrate the day that he leaves. Think about that. A Christian pastor is being silenced here in America for objecting to a taxpayer-funded road being named after a terrorist. We're losing it. Or take what has been happening in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which has been and seen a massive influx of Somalians moving into their neighborhood. I recently saw a story that absolutely shocked me. More than 75 Somalians have been arrested in a massive scheme where they stole $300 million from a American taxpayer-funded child nutrition program. $300 million. So these Somalian criminals came to Minneapolis. They took advantage of our free schools and our free health care, and then they stole $300 million from American taxpayers right under our noses. Where is the media? Where's the outrage? And where did this money go? Where do you think it went? You guessed it. It went back to Somalia. It's disgusting, and these people should be deported, if not jail for life. In case you're still unclear about the dangers we're facing, here are a few reasons why Sharia law does not work in a Western society like the United States. In America, we value free speech. The U.S. Constitution gives us that right. The First Amendment is what makes this country, America, great. You're allowed to express your opinions publicly without fear of the government arresting you or killing you. But under Sharia law, any criticism that goes against what Muhammad or the Quran says can be punishable by death. Further, under the U.S. Constitution and the First Amendment, equal rights for people of all faiths are protected. Western culture treats everyone equal, regardless of their religious beliefs. Under Sharia law, if you are not a Muslim, you are treated as the enemy. Radical Islam says you can discriminate against and even be violent towards non-Muslims. We see that happening now in Europe, where non-Muslims are being violently attacked every day, all over Europe. It's because Sharia law not only accepts but encourages this type of disgusting behavior. Another major difference between Islam and our Western culture is the way we treat women. In the U.S., marriage happens when a man and woman mutually decide that they want to get married and be with each other. But under Sharia law, older men are allowed to marry 6-year-old girls, which is unbelievable. 6 years old. That's not marriage. In America, we call that pedophilia. But that's just scraping the surface. In Sharia law, women are sold, raped, trafficked, no problem to them. That's their way of life. Women are not allowed to get an education or have a job. They aren't even allowed to leave home without a man escorting them. And women are forced to wear burqas, which cover basically everything but their eyes. Meanwhile, men are allowed to have multiple wives, marry children, and do not have to cover their heads. It makes your blood boil. Not to mention the horrible way that minorities are treated in countries that follow Sharia law. There's no tolerance in these countries. If you live in a country that practices Sharia law and are not Muslim, you're lucky if you aren't thrown in jail or killed. That's because Islam and Sharia law teach that you must hate non-Muslims and should wage jihad, which literally means holy war against people who do not believe. One thing I find particularly ironic is how the left turns a blind eye to the horrible ways LGBT people are treated in countries that follow Sharia law. In countries like Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Yemen, gay people are often given the death penalty. Does that sound like a peaceful, tolerant religion to you? Not me. Unfortunately, this poisonous religion, which I think is closer to a cult, is rapidly growing in this country. Wake up, America. Look no farther than New York, where a radical Islamist, Zohan Mandami, is the front runner to become the next mayor. Mandami has tried everything he can do to hide his radical Islamic beliefs ever since he started campaigning. But he was recently seen in a photo with the co-conspirator of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. Think about that. And they're getting ready to elect him mayor. The leading candidate for mayor of New York City is cozying up with an openly jihadist terrorist sympathizer. Where are we going? In New York, if New Yorkers are stupid enough to elect a radical Islamist as their mayor, then they deserve what they get next, and it is coming. I truly believe we're at the crossroads of this country. The time for political correctness is over. That's why I've introduced 2 bills in the Senate to end Sharia law in this country. End it. The first one is No Sharia Act, which makes it illegal to practice Sharia law when it conflicts with our Constitution. As I've repeatedly said, the radical Islam cult is the opposite of everything. I mean everything that we stand for in America. The second bill I introduced, the Preserving a Sharia Law or Sharia-Free America Act, prevents all foreign nationals who advocate for Sharia law from entering this country. No more. If you want to practice that, stay where you're at or go to one of the other 50 countries that practices this. The Trump administration banned people from nearly 50 Muslim countries during the first administration. And thanks to Joe Biden's 4 years of open borders, we now have thousands, I mean thousands of terrorists and their sympathizers who entered our country unchecked. How stupid was that? We have to shut off the spigot before it's too late. This is a major national security threat. Radical Islamists have proven over and over again that they are willing to do whatever it takes to kill just one American citizen. And it didn't just happen overseas. It has been allowed to fester and is alive and well in our very own country, just waiting for the right opportunity to attack. So now's the time to act, because if we don't, we're going to lose this country as we know it. Open your eyes, America. The values of this country was built on cannot coexist with radical Islam. It doesn't work. It's one, our Constitution, or the other. You can't mix them. This isn't a Republican or Democrat issue. This is an American issue. Just look at Europe. We are headed down the same dark path as what Europe's going through now if we don't wake up. We need to permanently shut down Sharia law in this country before it's too late. Wake up, America. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Mr. President,
Senator from Nevada.
thank you. Mr. President, Nevadans work hard for their money, really hard, especially right now when they're being squeezed by rising costs as a result of Trump's chaos and his reckless economic policies. Nevadans pay taxes with the expectation that the federal government is going to work for them and provide critical services when they need it. Services that are shamefully being disrupted by the Republican government shutdown. Instead, their taxpayer dollars are being wasted on gold-plated dinners at the White House. Count them, two private jets for Kristi Noem, and unbelievably, a potentially multi-million-dollar illegal payment to Donald Trump. So you heard that right. In the middle of a government shutdown that he caused because he refuses to take action to prevent a spike in your health care costs, Donald Trump is seeking $230 million in payment from the Department of Justice. For who? Well, for himself. He's going to use your money to pad his own pockets instead of working with Democrats to take action to make sure that you and your family can go to the doctor without breaking the bank. Trump has even acknowledged that, quote, it's awfully strange to make a decision where I'm paying myself, end quote. And I'm going to go one step further, Mr. President. It's not just strange. It's outrageous. $230 million? All while families are worrying about paying their bills, putting food on the table, and wondering if they'll be able to afford their health insurance for next year. Instead of paying himself, why doesn't Trump put that money towards SNAP benefits, since his administration has decided to renege on its promise to provide the funding to prevent Americans from going hungry? The president has the power to do this. So today, I'm introducing a resolution condemning Donald Trump's decision to pay and enrich himself with your tax dollars. You got that right. He's going to pay to enrich himself nearly $250,000 from Donald Trump to Donald Trump off the backs of the American taxpayer. And if my Republican colleagues who like to stand up here and talk all about cutting costs, cutting wasteful spending, if they want to practice what they preach, they'll support my resolution. They'll stand up to Donald Trump and say, finally, with the gold-plated dinners and the ballrooms, etc., that enough is enough, and it's time to put the American people first. So let's show the American people that at least this chamber still knows the difference between serving the public and serving yourself. So let's pass my resolution right now, today. We can do it. So, Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent the Senate proceed to the consideration of S-Res 470, which is at the desk. Further, I ask unanimous consent that the resolution be agreed to, the preamble be agreed to, and that the motions to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate.
Is there objection?
Mr. President.
Senator from Florida.
Mr. President, reserving the right to object. Today is day 28 of the Democrat shutdown. A shutdown caused by Democrats' complete blind hatred of Donald Trump. They are spending more time attacking President Trump than fighting for the American people who are harmed by their shutdown. Democrats have voted for weeks to deprive our men and women in the military from getting their paychecks. They're stopping Capitol Police, federal law enforcement, air traffic controllers, essential federal employees from getting paid. In just a few days, 42 million people receiving SNAP benefits may not get the benefits they rely on because the Democrats will not support the continuing resolution that most of us don't like. It's the Biden funding. Clearly, my Democrat colleagues are willing to do anything they can to attack President Trump instead of voting to reopen the government and stop this recklessness. The American people are sick of the political games at their expense, and so am I. Therefore, I object.
Objection is heard.
Mr. President.
Senator Madam.
This is extremely disappointing. By blocking my resolution, Washington Republicans are saying that they approve of Donald Trump paying himself a multi-million-dollar settlement using taxpayer dollars. Millions of Americans are missing their paychecks, worrying about paying their bills, losing their SNAP benefits, and wondering if they're going to be able to afford their health insurance next year. My Republican colleagues have lost their way, should be ashamed of themselves for standing up and allowing this lawlessness to happen. Because, like I said, my Republican colleagues like to stand up here and talk about cutting wasteful spending. This $230 million, I would argue, is exactly that. So if they want to practice what they preach, they would actually support my resolution, stand up to this wasteful spending of the president, again, approving himself to pay himself nearly $250,000, and we can show the American people that all of us know the difference between serving the public and serving just one individual, President Trump. I yield.
Mr. President.
Senator from Florida.
If my Democrat colleagues want to make sure people are not getting harmed by losing SNAP benefits or going without paychecks while they show up to work day after day, then they would vote to reopen government. Unfortunately, they've elected to not do that. So I hope my Democrat colleagues will come to their senses and vote this week to reopen government.
Clerk, call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks.
Mr. President,
Majority Leader.
I move or ask unanimous consent the quorum call be suspended.
Without objection.
And I move to proceed to the motion to reconsider the cloture vote on October the 14th and a motion to proceed to H.R. 5371.
The question is on the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes appear to have it. Ayes do have it. The motion is agreed to.
Mr. President, I move to reconsider the cloture vote on the motion to proceed to H.R. 5371.
Questions on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes appear to have it. Ayes do have it. Motion is agreed to. The clerk will report the motion to invoke cloture.
Cloture motion. We, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, do hereby move to bring to a close debate on the motion to proceed to calendar number 168, H.R. 5371, an act making continuing appropriations and extensions for fiscal year 2026 and for other purposes, signed by 17 senators.
By unanimous consent, the mandatory quorum call has been waived. The question is it the sense of the Senate that debate on the motion to proceed to H.R. 5371, an act making continuing appropriations and extensions for fiscal year 2026 and for other purposes shall be brought to a close upon reconsideration. The yeas and nays are mandatory under the rule. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks, Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt-Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy. Ms. Collins. Mr. Coons. Mr. Cornyn. Ms. Cortez Masto. Mr. Cotton. Mr. Kramer. Mr. Crapo. Mr. Cruz. Mr. Curtis. Mr. Daines. Ms. Duckworth. Mr. Durbin. Ms. Ernst. Mr. Fetterman. Mrs. Fisher. Mr. Gallego. Mrs. Gillibrand. Mr. Graham. Mr. Grassley. Mr. Haggerty. Ms. Hassan. Mr. Hawley. Mr. Heinrich. Mr. Hickenlooper. Mr. Rono. Mr. Hoven. Mr. Husted. Mrs. Hyde-Smith. Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis. Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell. Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody. Mr. Moran, Mr. Moreno, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray. Mr. Ossoff. Mr. Padilla. Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters. Mr. Reed. Mr. Ricketts. Mr. Risch. Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds. Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan. Mr. Thune. Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Budd, Cassidy, Grassley, Husted, Johnson, King, McCormick, Moody, Risch, Scott of Florida, Sheehy, Thune. Senators voting in the negative: Baldwin, Blunt Rochester, Booker, Cantwell, Duckworth, Hassan, Kim, Rosen, Schiff, Welch. Mrs. Murray, no. Mr. Kane, no. Mr. Barrasso, aye. Ms. Markowski, aye. Mrs. Blackburn, aye. Mr. Reed, no. Mr. Wicker, aye. Ms. Warren, no. Mr. Daines, aye. Mr. Schumer, no. Mr. Langford, aye. Mr. Mullen, aye. Mr. Warner, no. Mr. Whitehouse, no. Mr. Rounds, aye. Mr. Marshall, aye. Mr. Kelly, no. Mrs. Hyde Smith, aye. Mr. Graham, aye. Mr. Ricketts, aye. Mrs. Fisher, aye. Ms. Collins, aye. Mr. Curtis, aye. Mr. Sullivan, aye. Mr. Durbin, no. Mr. Schatz, no. Mrs. Brett, aye. Mr. Van Hollen, no. Mr. Murphy, no. Ms. Klobuchar, no. Mr. Young, aye. Ms. Ernst, aye. Mr. Paul, no. Mr. Wyden, no. Mr. Hoven, aye. Ms. Smith, no. Mr. Merkley, no. Mr. Cornyn, aye. Mr. Sanders, no. Mrs. Gillibrand, no. Mr. Hawley, aye. Mr. Bennett, no. Mr. Blumenthal, no. Mr. Cotton, aye. Mr. Warnock, no. Mr. Padilla, no. Mr. Moran, aye. Mr. Crapo, aye. Mr. Tuberville, aye. Mr. Fetterman, aye. Mr. Haggerty, aye. Mr. Tillis, aye. Mr. Coons, no. Mr. Peters, no. Mr. Markey, no. Mrs. Shaheen, no. Mr. Lujan, no. Mr. Bozeman, aye. Ms. Lummis, aye. Mr. Kennedy, aye. Mr. Ossoff, no. Mr. Schmidt, aye. Mrs. Capito, Aye. Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee. Aye. Mr. Gallego. Mr. Gallego. No. Mr. Hickenlooper. Mr. Hickenlooper, no. Mr. Kramer. Mr. Kramer. Aye. Ms. Slotkin. Ms. Slotkin. No. Mr. Banks. Mr. Banks. Aye. Ms. Cortez Masto. Ms. Cortez Masto. Aye. Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott of South Carolina. Aye. Ms. Also Brooks. Ms. Also Brooks. No. Mr. Cruz. Mr. Cruz. Aye. Ms. Hirono, Ms. Hirono, no. Mr. McConnell, aye. Mr. Heinrich, no. Mr. Moreno, aye.
Can you come back? On this vote, the yeas are 54, the nays are 45. 3/5 of the Senate duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative. The motion upon reconsideration is not agreed to. The clerk will report the motion to invoke cloture.
Cloture motion, we, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, do hereby move to bring to a close debate on the nomination of Jordan Emery Pratt of Florida to be United States District Judge for the Middle District of Florida, signed by 17 senators.
By unanimous consent, the mandatory quorum call has been waived. The question is it the sense of the Senate that debate on the nomination of Jordan Emery Pratt of Florida to be United States District Judge for the Middle District of Florida shall be brought to a close? The yeas and nays are mandatory under the rule. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Also Brooks, Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett. Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt-Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Barrasso, Cassidy, Cotton, Kramer, Crapo, Curtis, Daines, Graham, Haggerty, Kennedy, Lee, Marshall, Moody, Moran, Marino, Hall, Rounds, Schmidt, Scott of South Carolina, Tillis, and Wicker. Senators voting in the negative: Alsobrooks, Blunt Rochester, Coons, Duckworth, Fetterman, Heinrich, Hirono, King, Lujan, Padilla, Sanders, Schatz, and Slotkin. Mr. McConnell, aye. Ms. Collins, aye. Mr. Welch, no. Mr. Grassley, aye. Mr. Ricketts, aye. Mr. Husted, aye. Mr. Wyden, no. Ms. Ernst, aye. Ms. Klobuchar,